Hello, everybody. Hello. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for coming. This is a great crowd here. It's great to be on the lakeside and down here in Racine. I just flew in from Wausau with JD Vance. I wish you all could have experienced it. I've said the same thing when you fly with President Trump. You see them as individuals. You understand how incredibly smart they are. I remember right after about the 2020 election, I had the opportunity to introduce Senator Rick Scott or endorse him or nominate him to be the head of the NRSC. And so we were with my Republican Senate colleagues, and I just asked them, because, in 2020, unless you're in a battleground state like this, you don't get to come to these rallies like this. And so I just asked my colleagues, first of all, how many had been to a rally, and, maybe about a third of them had. And I said, do you know what the one attribute is that all these people, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions by now, of people who go to Trump rallies, go to JD Vance rallies, you know what they all share in common, the one attribute? Didn't get an answer, so I answered the question for them. They love this country. They fervently love this country. And they also love the man, in this case now the men, who they also know they love this country, Donald Trump and JD Vance. As we now witness Vice President Harris, her closing argument is, I guess, to say that we're all a bunch of Hitler lovers. It does kind of remind me, 5 days before President Obama won the presidency in 2008, I remember he said, in 5 days we are going to fundamentally transform America. Remember that? Now, the question I'd always ask, do you even like, much less love, something you want to fundamentally transform? It's kind of like I wake up in the morning, Jane, I love you, and I'm going to change everything about you. That wouldn't go over very well. But it's also not a sign of really loving this country. Now, let me be clear. I do believe that the vast majority of Americans, whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, they do understand what is so wonderful about America, right? And they love this country. But I would argue their leaders are not real fond of America if you want to fundamentally transform it. And that's, I think, a real problem in America. Anybody see the Madison Square Garden rally yesterday? Pretty darn remarkable, right? You had more than 25,000 people inside, 75,000 outside. And the Democrats, of course, backed up by the legacy and corporate media, are comparing that to a Hitler rally. No, that is a celebration of America. And one of the reasons you like coming to these rallies is you're surrounded by people that love this country. I was traveling, so I didn't get to see the whole thing, but I've seen clips. I think one of the greatest lines was Tucker Carlson pointed out that he didn't think Kamala Harris has ever been accused of doing something useful. I think that's probably pretty true. And by the way, that fundamental transformation, what that is they are fundamentally destroying this country. That's what President Trump and JD Vance are trying to prevent, is the further destruction of this country. One thing else I think the news media is missing about that Madison Square Garden rally is we had on display the incredible coalition that Donald Trump has now assembled. Again, I'm 69 years old. I've been around politics, or I've watched politics for quite some time. The Democrat Party is not the party of our parents and grandparents. The party that actually did care about Americans and about American workers. Now that is us. Donald Trump has transformed the Republican Party. We are now the party that not only represents, but we are the party of the working men and women of America that made this country great and will make it great again. What also is not really being recognized in the legacy media is the group of people that have now joined this coalition. When we take a look at, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., I've gotten to know Bobby Kennedy. He's a really... First of all, he's a really good person, but he's also really smart. Tulsi Gabbard, if you've listened to her, she's really smart. Elon Musk, the guy is a genius. And the person you're going to be listening to here shortly, and I'll say a little bit more about him, but JD Vance, really smart. Now again, these individuals come from diverse backgrounds. But again, like you, they all love this country. Also like you, they realize that Democrats are the threat to democracy, right? In the end, that's why Bobby Kennedy joined Donald Trump, is he realized that the party of his father, of his uncle, is not the party that he recognizes. His party left him, and they left America behind. And so the beauty about that new alliance between Bobby Kennedy and Donald Trump, you got to give both those individuals credit. Now, they don't agree on everything, but they're focusing on an area of agreement, chronic illness. And in doing so, they are demonstrating exactly how you heal and unify a horribly divided nation. So again, I give Donald Trump and Bobby Kennedy all kinds of credit for doing that. But again, what that coalition represents, Bobby Kennedy is synonymous with the Democrat Party. Tulsi Gabbard apparently just changed her registration to Republican. Elon Musk, what a fabulous addition he'd be to any administration. The efficiencies are. We could use that in the federal government. So again, these are smart people, and we need to recognize this is a realignment in American politics, and from my standpoint, it gives me a great deal of hope. In an imperiled nation, I am hopeful that we can turn the situation around with that coalition that Donald J. Trump has assembled. So I have to ask, how many of you have already voted? Okay, that's great. It's not enough. I'm sorry, it's not enough. Now, you've got to spend all your waking moments between now and the election day to find other people and help them vote early, take them to the polls on election day. We have to do this. We're not going to get help from our education system. We're not going to get help from the legacy corporate media. This is going to be up to we the people to save this country. Are you willing to do it? Now, again, you are going to, in a few moments, you're going to hear from an extraordinary individual. Again, I was just up with him in a rally. I have seen JD Vance up close and personal. I've seen him as he brings his wife and children to the Senate lunch. I see how he treats them as a father. On the flight up here, you're saying that the one bottom line, the one non-negotiable for JD Vance in terms of this campaign, has been tireless. He's been doing a fabulous job. How about the debates? How about the way he answers questions from the legacy media? By the way, just a quick aside. I think it was a couple Sundays ago, he's on Martha Raddatz on This Week. And he was talking about how, the Venezuelan gangs have taken over these apartment buildings in Colorado. And Martha Raddatz goes, kind of fact-checking him, well, Senator, it's just a handful. And JD goes, Martha, do you hear yourself? Are you just a handful of apartment buildings taken over by Venezuelan gangs is okay? It's not okay. But anyway, getting back to the point I was making, so the one negotiable for JD Vance in this campaign is as tirelessly as he's worked, what a wonderful candidate he has been, He has to spend Halloween with his children. Okay? And of course, for the Democrats, for Tim Walz, that's weird. No, I'm sorry, Tampon Tim, you're weird. So unfortunately, I only served with JD for 2 years. I'm only going to be serving with him as a senator for 2 years because he's going to be the next vice president of the United States. But during that time, JD didn't talk at every lunch or every meeting, but when he spoke with intelligence. He spoke as articulately as you've seen him speak. He is a smart person and wonderful vice president picked by Donald J. Trump. So you're in your treat for tonight, but you understand what this is all about, and you understand how important this is. Our nation is in peril. The fundamental transformation, which is the fundamental destruction of America, is well down the path. We've got to turn around. This is a make or break moment for America. I agree with Elon Musk when he says if we don't win this election, we'll probably never get another chance at a free and fair election. That's just the truth. I mean, Democrats, they want to, they resist all controls on election. Voter ID, forcing people to prove that they are a U.S. citizen. They reject all of that. They want to make it easy to cheat. Why? Because they want to cheat, right? And my guess is they do cheat. So what we need to do, again, you voted, you got to get other people to the poll because we need such an overwhelming result that, as Donald Trump says, we need the result that's too big to rig. That is your job. That's all of our jobs. And we're up for it, right? Because, again, we are trying to preserve this nation because, in the end, what this is, it's a fight for that one essential ingredient that's made America great. First of all, you've made America great, but the essential ingredient is what you've used. Our ancestors use it. You use it to dream and aspire and build and create this marvel of a country. It's called freedom. And in the end, what next Tuesday is about, it is a fight for freedom. It's not somebody else's fight. This is our fight, and it is a fight that we absolutely must win. So God bless all of you. God bless your efforts. God bless America. Have a great evening. Thank you for coming out. Thank you. Thank you.